My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. We are continuing our discussion of the resurrection of 1 Corinthians chapter 15, where Paul said the resurrection would be when sin, the sting of death, would be overcome. You deal with sin, you've dealt with death. And then we're comparing that with Romans chapters 5 through 8, because these two sets of passages are absolutely parallel with one another. Now, keep in mind that Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 5, in his discussion of resurrection, the resurrection of 1 Corinthians 15, Paul says, the one who has wrought us for this, the one who has worked us for this, is God, who has also given us the earnest of the Spirit. The guarantee of the resurrection was the Holy Spirit, the charismatic gifts of the Holy Spirit. And thus, once again, to reiterate, if the resurrection has not occurred, then of necessity we should have the miraculous gifts of the Holy Spirit operative in the church today. But we do not have the miraculous gifts of the Holy Spirit operative in the church today. Therefore, either the earnest of the Holy Spirit failed or the resurrection has taken place. Those are really our only two viable and logical options. Now, with that in mind, that is the concept of the miraculous gifts of the Holy Spirit as the earnest, the guarantee of the resurrection. Notice that Paul in Romans chapter 8 says, you have not received the spirit of bondage again unto fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. Now, I want you to consider this. Consider this carefully. If the miraculous gifts of the Holy Spirit were the guarantee of the resurrection, and if the Holy Spirit was given to guarantee the adoption, the manifestation of sons to guarantee sonship, then sonship and resurrection, while they may not be absolutely synonymous concepts, I would suggest to you that they are synchronous. That is to say, the resurrection and the manifestation of the sons of God, i.e., the adoption as sons being consummated, would likewise occur at the same time. Now remember, the Holy Spirit, the miraculous gifts, were given to guarantee the resurrection. 2 Corinthians 5. But the Holy Spirit, the charismatic gifts of the Holy Spirit, had been given to guarantee the adoption. Well, what was the adoption? Romans 8:23 said that the whole creation eagerly groaned for the adoption, that is, the redemption of the body. Do you see how adoption and sonship and resurrection are all absolutely, inextricably, and inseparably bound up with the miraculous gifts of the Holy Spirit in the first century? Now, by the way, there's another element here that is very, very often overlooked, but is just as fundamentally important as sonship and adoption and resurrection. And that is the concept in Romans chapter 8 that they were given the Holy Spirit to guarantee the adoption, and in the meantime, they were suffering with Christ, awaiting glorification. Well, what is that glorification? It is the manifestation of the sons of God. It is the adoption, to wit, the redemption of the body. Glorification, redemption of the body go hand in hand. Now, in our next video, we are going to see how all of this plays in to one of the most controversial texts in regard to eschatology that there is, at least in the anti-preterist discussion. Jesus said in the age to come, they neither marry nor are given in marriage. They are sons of God, being the sons of the resurrection. Well, once again, if resurrection would produce sons of God, we have to explore how sons of God were produced by resurrection. And we will look at that in our next section. We will look at that. We'll see you on the flip side.